Hi, my name is Jose Linares and I'm going to talk about the new digital age scenario and its impact in brands. The rules have changed. You have to realize that we are living in a complete different scenario, where all rules may not apply any longer. Before, the message was unidirectional. It was spread by TV or by newspaper, and people were just reading, listening, watching. But what's going on now? Now people is having conversation. They are talking about your brand, your products, asking for advice. And that is going to have an impact on your brand for sure. As the Cluetrain Manifesto stated, markets are conversations. And where is taking place that conversation? The conversation is taking place online, in different sites, the sites that have formed what has been called the Web 2.0. That is YouTube, Blogger, MySpace, Facebook, blogs, Fotolog, Twitter, just for naming some of them. What that means is users now have the tools to create and distribute content to a potential audience of millions. Sorry, but you don't have control of the communication anymore. Want to see some examples? You can go to Twitter and look for what the people is taking about Iberia flights. And you can go to Google and find blogs that say about Iberia. Or you can go to YouTube and see the videos of people complaining about their experience with your products. Wow, you could stay in silence, but silence is not an option anymore. People will carry on talking about you. The only chance left is joining the conversation. Jump to it. Okay, let's start. Don't panic. Relax and listen. Listen what your users are saying. That's the first step that you should do. Listen what your users are talking about. Understand them. But how to listen in chaos, in this complicated scenario where everyone is talking? You have to monitorize your brand, choose the keywords related to it, and then use the tools to track it. You can use, for example, Yahoo Pipes and have all your RSS centralized in one place, or you can use Technorati to track blogs, or you can track comments on blogs from your users or yourself with tools like Backtype or Comments. Or you can go to Twitter and listen to what people is saying about your brand nearly in real time. You can use Google Alerts to be notified when someone has. Those are free tools. If you need some extra features or more advanced reports, you can use the advanced options. Those options are paid, like Bassmetrics by Nielsen or Bass Capture or Radian 6. In this diagram provided by Ignite, you can see the monitoring process of your brands. You need to track your buzz or mentions online. For that, you need monitoring tools like the ones that we have explained. You need to target some keywords, and you have to eliminate those keywords or mentions that are not related to your product. Then you have to refine your mentions, check the most relevant ones, analyze them, and then take the pro actions. Okay, so you have a path to follow. You have to set up a strategy. That strategy will have some objectives. Those objectives have to be aligned with your target. That will define your actions and the technology to be used. You have to measure all the time your actions. We can watch it in another way. So once you have listened, you can start setting up your objectives. Those objectives have to be aligned with your audience. That audience is going to define the profile of your user. Taking into account that profile, you will have to carry on some actions and use the right technology. And as always, you have to measure every action you do. Between the objectives that you can set up in your social media strategy, you can, for example, do it for research in order to listen what your users need, what your users are saying. Or you can try to energize your community, create enthusiasm that will spread your brand, or communicate with the people, trying to provide more information about your product and getting it more known. Or you can support your users which need help or information. You have to take some actions. You have to provide information when the user is not clear about your product. You have to answer when the user is asking for information. You have to apologize when you have done something wrong. And you have to delete comments when people is lacking the respect of others. Always is when needed. So you have to analyze the context your objectives and your strategy, and take the right actions. Remember, you have to be transparent. Avoid censorship. Try to be authentic. People likes more people than brands. Community belongs to people, not to you, and you your audience language. You have to communicate with them their own words. So, you have to be clear. You need to have a naked conversation with your users. You cannot fool them anymore. Information is expressed too quickly that everyone will end up knowing everything. If you try to control your information, you can have what is being called the Streisand effect. Barbara Streisand went to court trying to have her house removed from an aerial map. The result was that the picture of her house, was spread all along the internet in thousands of blogs. She amplified the distribution of the information, trying to control it. So if you follow those tips, as a result, you will minimize the damage to your brand. Users will appreciate the effort that you are taking. They will be happier with you and be seen as a close and personal brand. But don't take just a defensive position. Try to be positive. Think about a digital scenario like if you were practicing jiu-jitsu, a martial art that enables you to harness the power of your opponent for your own advantage. That's what Charlene Lee says, an expert on this field. So, you have to be positive, you have to create opportunities, and you have to anticipate crises. For example, you can encourage participation, what is called user-generated content. Creating, for example, some contests. So users will generate content about your brand in YouTube, in Facebook, in Fotolog, MySpace. You have to let the people to conversate with you in social sites, in corporative blogs. So you can set up some blogs when communicating with your user. You can set up a Twitter when talk to them. You need to distribute your content and allowing portability. You use RSS or microformats in order to distribute that content. Therefore, that content could be verified by your users. That will generate even more content. And don't forget to reward your users. Your active users that are talking about you and helping you in this role, you should reward them. And remember, you always have to measure all your actions. You have to establish your KPIs. So, for example, you can establish as KPIs comments in blogs, or blog posts related to your activities, or the videos uploaded by users on YouTube, or the people has joined your Facebook group, or the people that has joined your community, your online community. So, depending on your objectives and your strategy, you will have to establish several KPIs. But the important thing is that you have to measure all actions you are doing. So, you have a lot of technologies arising. You have lots of platforms, places, and at the same time, new technologies are appearing. So, which technologies are the most important? Which ones you should focus? At the end, the most important technology is language. language to create communication that will enable a good relationship with your customers. That's the most important part. Thank you.